In today's episode of the Pathmark Presents podcast, I'm with a very interesting guest here today. I'm with Eric Felice, who is heading over from Veriday, and he is the senior marketing manager. And we're going to be learning all about the company today, how are they serving their customers, and how Eric is thinking about digital growth. So, welcome to the show, Eric.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Lucas.
Yeah, so maybe just to get warmed up and get into the conversation. Tell us a little bit. What is Veriday all about? What is the 360 overview? Let's say.
Yeah, absolutely. So Veriday is a digital transformation organization based out of Toronto, Canada. We have offices in Cincinnati, in New York, in Chicago as well. And our main focus is providing digital solutions that help transform legacy systems, legacy processes, and really enhance the user experience, the business results of organizations with either our out-of-the-box solutions or our custom-built platforms as well.
Gotcha. So could you tell us maybe, what types of companies would be, leveraging your service? Who would be, is that certain industries? Is that certain size of companies? Who do you typically work with?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a few industries that we work with. I think FSI, insurance, wealth, banking, that it has been our legacy, our bread and butter for a long time, because some of our executives, our founders, have strong backgrounds in that. So we will provide anything from business consulting services, UI, UX, application development, intranet development, to a marketing platform we call Digital Agent, as well as hosted services and application management. In addition to that, we work with manufacturers, with energy organizations, so hydro utilities, oil and gas, as well as certain healthcares, nonprofits, and even retail. So there is a bit of a spread there, but what we see and how we work with them is these organizations have very similar needs, similar use cases, and it's really the technology that might change or the outcome that they're trying to drive towards. So we work with a number of large institutions across North America, across all of these industries, and whether we're delivering some of those consulting services all the way to the hosting or anything in between, it's really, like I said, about digital transformation and improving those business results. So what they need, where, that kind of thing, we're able to be that partner that supports that.
Okay, that really shows how you're running across the gamut. Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Who would be raising their hands? Like, is that like a CTO? Is that like a CEO even? Like, and says, okay, we need the folks at Veriday to help us out.
Yeah, so the clients that we have at Veriday, or at least who start talking to us, can tend to span the gamut. I think the main two are marketing staff. So with our digital agent platform, it's a marketing platform geared towards regulated industries, specifically wealth and finance. So we will hear from either an individual agent, an individual broker, advisor that is looking for a solution, and that will sort of work its way up the chain to the decision makers, or we'll get heads of field marketing or CMOs, chief marketing officers, that are looking for solutions to improve their field marketing capabilities. On the flip side, for our custom application solutions that we also build, that can come from a few places. Yes, there is the head of IT, whether that's a CIO, a CTO, or VP director in that space. That is a very common one that we see, because they are in charge of managing the whole technology stack, whether a platform is coming to its end of life, or they are looking to improve, or whatever that trigger may be, they're typically the ones that will oversee it. The last sort of place that we'll get in terms of our customer base, or at least the initial trigger, is lines of business. So it could be the CEO, it could be the COO, it could be HR. It varies at that point, because what we have now is a champion that is looking for a way to improve a process, and or a practice, or a system, whatever it may be. And they will reach out to us looking to solve that. And then that's where we'll involve all of those other decision makers. But it's really to solve for that specific team, that line of business. But it's around those sort of three buying groups that will interact with the most.
Okay, I see. And you as a marketer, like how do you think about sort of, with that different personas that you were describing, like how do people get to know about Veriday? What is the different maybe sources, acquisition channels that you're looking at? How do you think about that, having that sort of gamut of customers?
Yeah, so to me, and it's about being where the audience is, and making sure that we are there to help answer their question that they might have. So maybe you'll find you're more likely to find a CEO at certain networking luncheons, for example, versus a CIO you might find at a technology conference learning about those kinds of things, or a line of business owner maybe more on their computer trying to find an answer to the problem that they're having. And really, it's about being there wherever that is, and having those conversations. So our growth channels or acquisition channels are varied for that particular reason, because our audience isn't always in the same spot. We all know audiences are changing every day. The way we used to market and used to sell is much different 10 years ago than it is today, and will be different in 10 more years. So that's always changing, but I think it's making sure that we're in front of them with that right message, and making sure that we're explaining our solutions, and showcasing that there's an answer out them, right? Because if you're searching for a restaurant, if you're on social media, if you're going to a conference, really the core thing of why you're out there, the core purpose, is you're looking for answers for anything, right? A search query is just a search for an answer. Engaging in conversation, or asking for a demo, going to a conference, you're looking for answers, whether you know the question yet, or you're just trying to see what's out there, and sort of get an insight into what's happening in the market. All of that is helping inform our knowledge and our decision making. So we try to make sure that we are there. We are there to, whether they are actively looking or not, to help explain those answers to them, and be that partner.
Interesting. It makes a whole lot of sense. We talk a lot about, quite naturally, to the world of Pathmark, we talk about websites quite a bit in the podcast. What's your perspective on your website? What role does it play in your mind? You mentioned those very different channels for the different personas. Like, how do you think about the website?
So the way that I see it, and I've spoken at conferences before, and I've said the same thing, is I view different channels very differently. And to take the example, social media to me is rented land, and you can't build a house on rented land. The same thing applies to the inverse. So a website is your home base. This is what you own, this is what you can build, and this is where you can build your most engaged audience. Because yes, you can rent somebody's audience at a conference, or on social media, or using advertising. You're renting that, but the engagement is far lower. Versus if I can put that extra work to get somebody to my website, get them to sign up for a newsletter or a webinar, or whatever it is, to me, I view that engagement as a step above in terms of level of effort. So with that, that is how I view the website. That being said, when I talk about when it's I think home base is an apt description of it, because in marketing, in sales, I'm going to have arms or tentacles that reach all over the place, right? I'm going to use SEO, I'm going to use advertising, I'm going to use events. And my hope is to grab attention there and to bring them back home. So that way they enter my website, they enter my sales funnel, my CRM, that kind of stuff. So to me, the website's extremely valuable from that end. And I think what we're seeing now, what continues to make it more and more valuable, is the sense of independence that prospects and clients have to be able to basically either go all the way to a purchase process or get very close to the end before doing that. So for me, for example, I don't really, I won't engage with somebody for a demo without knowing what solution I'm trying to solve for. I already know in my head, look, this is what I'm trying to accomplish in my strategy. The demo is the last piece in the puzzle that I just needed to know what solutions are out there. So having a website, having valid information, having ways for people to engage, qualify themselves, move through the funnel is extremely valuable, because if your website is correctly optimized, it can not only serve as that home base that supports all of those activities, but it also serves as its own self-propelling engine, right? We get leads that are may not be as frequent as going to an event, right? You get an attendee list, you have 500 some people right off the block that your BDRs can start reaching out to, but that doesn't mean that they're highly qualified. But when I get a lead on the website, they're more likely to, it might be a book a demo, might be looking for more information. They've already done all that research. And we've closed some fairly high value deals, high value clients at Veriday in the last couple of years, using strictly the website. That they came in and said, look, hey, I need to talk to you guys. And it was based on either conversion work or content work or SEO work that has been done on on that platform.
Yeah, I love the picture, how you make it actually very clear, like the home ground and the rented land. It's an amazing picture. I have to ask then though, given it's your home ground and the marketers typically are very critical about the home ground, where do you see, even maybe what do you see as the major strength of the website as it is today? And, where do you see the biggest room for improvement or opportunities to grow into from your perspective for the page?
I think you said it well. There's a critical piece to it, and I think it's much easier for me as a marketer to point out flaws. I think part of it is I look at my website and I know how the sausage is made, so I know all of its flaws and I know what I'd like to make it better. But I get feedback from people that say otherwise, and versus I look at other websites and I look at them with some envy. So I think part of that is just, it comes with being a marketer and maybe me having that type of attitude. But I think our team has done tremendously well in enhancing its content, in improving the offerings there, and we still have work to do on that, in improving its SEO and improving practices around the maintenance of the website, rather than it just being a dusty thing that is not actively kept up and so on. But where we're looking to grow, I think there is some of those practices still need to continue to grow. There's always room for improvement on it and ways to enhance it. But beyond that is consistent refinement in how we present ourselves. And I think that's an active marketing activity to begin with. And really, it comes down to user journey for me. So I want it to be so simple that somebody understands exactly what they do. They can find the solution that they're looking for. They find again, those answers that they're looking for in our solutions, and they're able to identify themselves in the problem. So really, like, it's sort of a bit of a joke or a stereotype with any B2B selling or any consulting type work, is that everybody thinks that they have a unique problem. So whether you want to argue if that's true or not, the point is, if somebody feels that they have a unique problem, we want to make sure that we answer that problem, regardless of if it's special or not. So what that means is having a good experience. So ways for people to easily engage with us, whether it's through chat bots, conversion points, having content that is highly valuable and highly engaging to them, and ways for us to be discovered, and ways to navigate and easily consume what Veriday and what Digital Agent, our product, and what our services are all about. So to me, that is the area of focus, is the user journey that we put people on, and it doesn't stop and start, or it doesn't start and stop at the four walls of the website. It's really the whole gamut that I'm looking at. But as I said, as our home base, it's definitely a big portion of that journey.
Interesting. I mean, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about you personally and your sort of the way how you are moving through the world of digital marketing. I would love to know, because there's a lot of content out there, right? You can continuously educate yourself in marketing. There's tons of, new strategies you could learn just right now. How do you filter? Like, what are places that you go to educate yourself versus, how do you decide what to read or not to read?
So I actually have been becoming more and more of a bookworm. I think I've always read and always enjoyed anything from newsletters to certain business publications to books, but I've been expanding that and reading to the point of several books a week. And this is not just business related. I think I try to cover off a whole bunch of stuff, and the way I view information is different than how I view knowledge. So to me, information is you can get from a blog. It's more the how-to, but knowledge is and insight is the ability to interpret that and go a step higher. So it's not that I will be prejudiced against one thing or another. Just because I work in digital or technology does not mean I will shy away from how perhaps out of home or print or televisions or CPG brands are marketing. To me, I view those as ways to gather insights and information from them. Now, you're right. There's a lot of material out there that you can get from. I'm a little more biased towards books. That being said, I have certain publications that I read every day. But I'm biased to books in the sense that if it takes a person maybe a few hours, maybe a day, maybe a week at most to produce a blog piece, it'll take somebody 6 months, a year or so on to produce a book. So to me, that information you could probably find on the internet, but I tend to get more deeper insights out of them. And there are some books that I have on my bookshelf that were published in the 70s that it's funny to read some of the case studies and how that's changed, but the insight that is in them are still so incredibly valuable that's how I look at it. But to me, it's sure, there's the meditative state of consuming a book and all that kind of stuff, but beyond that, it's if I have those trusted publications, I'll put on a screen reader and then listen to it while I'm answering emails, put it on double speed and just consume that way. So it's not that it's taking away from anything. It's more that just absorb as much as you can as a sponge, and from there have that mindset, that ability to think higher about it and to extract insights or ideas from them, even though it may not necessarily be related to you.
Interesting. Like very structured answer, very structured approach that you're going through there. Very cool. I would have one last question before we wrapping up today with Pathmonks Presents episode. I would be very curious, Eric, if we go back to the days of the Ryerson University, right? So you're just getting out of there, and now you have the world ahead, your career ahead. What would be your one advice when it comes to your career in marketing, your path that you've been taking? What's the one advice that you would give yourself, meeting yourself back after university?
Yeah, so I'm actually, in general, I'm very happy with my career growth and how things have been going, and advancements and opportunities that I've had, and abilities to flex strategic muscles, because that has been something that I've always been fascinated about since I was a child. My parents, as lame as it sounds, my parents would tell you how fascinated I used to be as a young child about commercials and the persuasive power that they could have. So in that sense, I'm pretty happy with, and sure, you have jobs that are less than optimal than others, but to me, those are all learning experiences. I wouldn't know what I'm good at, or what I like to do versus don't, without them. To me, when I look back, and or what I view as missed opportunities or areas of regret, things that I could have, that I wish I would have done, to me, it's looking at emerging technologies. So there's a few gaps that I see in marketing that can't be bridged, at least currently. So for example, marketers have a very tough time speaking to a technical audience, to developers, to IT staff, because we do speak different languages. And if I had more background in that, and even an educational background in that, I think that would, in computer science and engineering, I think that'd be of value. Data is another one that is emerging as well as being incredibly valuable. If I had some background in more data science and that side of things, I think would further enhance my abilities and my career. And then the last one is certain emerging technologies like artificial intelligence. I think all of those play around, I think, or are around the same thing, which is marketing's, the creative pursuit of marketing is one thing, but I think the environment in which marketing plays, the technology side of it, is incredibly valuable. And if I were to go back again, that would be an area of focus that I would want to make sure that I had in my toolkit. It's not that I haven't picked some stuff up on the way. It's not that I'm not continuing to learn as I go. I could talk quite a bit about AI, but there's still always going to be that difference between those who are the computer science, the data science, the computer engineers, and the language that they speak and how they view the world versus how I view the world, and so on. And it's just like learning another language is it allows you to experience a cultural world that is different than what you have. It'd be the same thing in the work world as well.
Very cool. Eric, I really appreciate you taking the time with us today and be a guest on Pathmark Presents. I want to give you the very last words, right? If somebody would be forgetting all that we discussed in the interview today, what's the one thing that they should remember about the company?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I want to thank you, Lucas, and for having me. This was a lot of fun. For me, the big thing is come check us out, Veriday.com, that kind of thing. But we are also having a launch event for our product, Digital Agent. We've been making a lot of enhancements and new integrations and all that fun stuff to the platform, and we think it would be very excited. We're very excited about it. That's why we're hosting this event in October. So definitely check our website, check that out. Do sign up there, and I'd be happy to talk to anybody if anybody wants to just reach out and chat marketing, chat strategy. I'm super excited about that. But yeah, that's Veriday. That's me in a nutshell.
Very cool. Thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathmark Presents.
Thank you.